Welcome, everyone. Today, we have the pleasure of hosting Mr. Shankar, a distinguished figure in the world of personal finance and investing. With over 2 decades of experience, Shankar has become a trusted voice for many aspiring investors, me included. Mr. Shankar's journey is marked by significant contributions to leading financial institutions like ET Money, HDFC Life, and ICICI Bank. At ET Money, he was instrumental in creating many insightful videos, demystifying complex financial concepts for a lot of broad audience. In August 2022, Mr. Shankar embarked on a personal independent venture. He launched his own YouTube channel, which is doing really well, has garnered over 250,000 subscribers. And recently, he's also been really doing writing really good articles on his newsletter. With this, sir, I extend a very warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedule and impart your knowledge for everyone.
No, thank you so much, Jotpreet. The pleasure is all mine. Wonderful to have you here. To meet you once again, this time online है, पहले तो offline मिले थे.
Yes, yes.
Happy to connect back with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So I've just divided this interview into three parts. First, will include wherein we'll discuss some of your personal life lessons, majorly focusing on your career and like what have you done. Second part is the one I'm probably I would say the most interested in, like your career in terms of content creation and your journey on YouTube and now your newsletter and probably even more ventures going on. And finally is the one the cream of the crop where we'll talk more about investing. And I don't know, I have like chopped up your videos like anything like ऐसे खाने के साथ dessert की तरह I've just like gobbled up your videos. They're so data backed, they're so simple to understand, and they like have the key takeaway, which is like really amazing. Like very few financial influencers, like I don't like the term, but like few people I like, and like your videos I really look forward to. आपका you're one of the few people I have the notification bell on for.
Yeah, it's like my father used to say कि बेटा history, social science सब छोड़ो, English सीख लो, math सीख लो. That should be enough for you to survive and do well in life. So I guess that's where the entire data-backed, video skills and all
Hmm.
those contents actually come from. So yeah, thanks so much to him.
Wow, that's actually very useful, sir. Sir, I'd just like to get started. I would want to know, sir, I saw that you've like graduated from SRCC, then you've done your MBA from MDI Gurgaon, and like then you have like a long and illustrious career in investing and finance, both in India as well as abroad. So I just wanted to know, like, how did you get interested in finance and in particular investing? Like, I know you have talked in previous interviews about attending Mr. Bakshi's class in MDI. So was that pivotal? I would just want to know your journey in terms of how you shaped up and like how you got interested into this field at all, मतलब, पहले in the beginning.
Yeah, so Professor Bakshi's classes really helped, because when I look back at, after finishing my graduation from SR, uh, getting into MDI, getting into a B school, I think the one pivotal mistake we do is that, we want to finish our education first.
Hmm.
Uh, so you get into a B school and you start trying to understand. I won't say you've understood most of what is taught in a B school because you don't have that work X to really understand how things, kind of match with each other. So we try to understand a few of them. And then came Professor Bakshi's class where he has this nice way of explaining things. Uh, you know, Thankfully, the equity markets at that time were very low at that time, but
Hmm.
the interest was definitely developing, and it was a combination of two things. One was Professor Bakshi's classes, those 22 lectures that he gave us. The second interesting thing is that we at a small group of people in MDI, we started what is perhaps the first student-run mutual fund amongst any B school.
Okay.
So this was way back in 2001,
Hmm.
and just some seven, eight of us, along with Professor Dhilan, we all got into this thing of defining a structure like how an asset management company is done. So we had three people who would take care of fundamental analysis, three people who will do technical analysis. There's a CIO. So there are two CIOs,
Hmm.
one from the professor body and one from the student body. And then I had this secondary job of being the marketing manager. Marketing manager कोई काम नहीं होता, उसको fund collect करना पड़ता है. So I used to make pitches to my seniors, my own batchmates, even people who were a part of the NMP program. And somehow we managed to collect some 70,000 rupees. So everyone was kind of pushed to contribute 300 rupees. So we somehow managed some 65,000 rupees. And that became the starting fund
Wow.
for that student run AMC. This I'm talking about 2001. उस टाइम पे तो नॉर्मल लोग म्यूचुअल फंड में नहीं
हाँ,
डालते
this
थे
is so bizarre because when I was in MBA and I am Koikot, we also tried setting up this kind of a investing fund type of a thing.
राइट
And like there were so many hurdles, like we got rejections left, right, and center, key this issue, that issue. So like
करेक्ट
really kudos, 20 years ago it would be much, much more difficult and much, much
Yeah,
more
we had a nice
bizarre a
name to
concept.
it. We used to call it Unnati. And
Oh.
even if you go to the MDI Gurgaon website, even today,
Hmm,
you type in Unnati, you search for Unnati, you'll see that there is still Unnati within MDI Gurgaon.
it's
And
true.
now it's become an investment research cell.
Wow.
Uh, so I don't know what operations they do currently, but it's
Hmm,
still there and it's still flourishing. So that's obviously something heartening for us to see.
that
So
is.
so that was the start, basically. Then certain things changed, and something that aided my getting into finance and getting into investing was the fact that I moved into ICICI Bank.
Hmm,
Uh, and once you're in a bank, that urge to kind of uh, deploy other people's money and therefore your own money also starts. So that became the second trigger for me. And I think I kind of left investing a bit between 2008 and 2014.
hmm.
2008 was a massive shock for many of us who were
Yes.
investing at that time. I mean, I was down like 65%
Wow.
of my portfolio was down. So you can imagine, that was a massive shakeup for a lot of us. So by the time wo himmat wapas aayi and we could get
Hmm,
back to investing, it was 2014 once again. But then, you need to go through these cycles. You go
hmm.
through one cycle, two cycles. I don't know if have you ever seen Jotpreet your money going down by 15%? Of course you have, right?
Yeah.
In a day?
No, I think that would only be possible in crypto, maybe. But
Uh,
not my own money. I have seen like the biggest shocker for me, like personally witnessing was in March 2020 when I remember ICICI Bank was on a lower circuit, Nifty was on a lower circuit. I think
Right.
that was the most bizarre day I've seen, like personally,
Right. So I've seen my wealth going down by 15% three times in a single day.
in a single day.
The first I remember was way back in May of 2004. I
Uh,
think May 17th to be precise, 2004. So the BJP Sarkar was not, I mean, they moved out of power.
hmm,
And that's the day the market tanked. And so at that time, I think the market used to start at 10 o'clock in the morning, not at 9:15. So I opened up at 10:05 and I see this band there on icicidirect.com. It said, exchange has been closed. Please await further instructions, something like that. तो मैंने बाजू
wow.
में पूछा सौरभ पटेल वाज नेक्स्ट टू मी आई सेड सौरभ भाई क्या हो गया इज लाइक अरे मार्केट वो डाउन है 10%. तो स्टॉक मार्केट क्लोज हो गया लाइक ओके दिस इज समथिंग न्यू फॉर मी सो हाउ लॉन्ग इज गोइंग बी क्लोज एंड इज लाइक 1 घंटा so the rule is that it
Hmm,
closes down and then after one
yeah,
hour
and then it
it
opens
starts.
up again. Yeah,
And if it goes down by another 5% then
then
it's done
it's
for the day.
halted for the day. Yeah.
हाँ तो वो 5% भी गिरा.
Wow.
So that's when I heard this word for the first time in my life, bloodbath. So bloodbath is that you open your whatever BSC India or ICICI
Uh,
Direct you're using, and you see different shades of red. There is crimson, there is rose, there is blood, there is जो भी आप समझ सकते हो, ठीक है?
uh,
But there are only shades of red. So that's what you call as a bloodbath. I sometimes feel very miserable when I see some newspaper publication Nifty 1% गिर गया और उस पे लिखा
uh,
होता है ब्लड बाथ टुडे ऑन दलाल स्ट्रीट. आई सेड यार तुम लोगों ने ब्लड बाथ देखा ही नहीं है. आई मीन वीव सीन ब्लड बाथ 15% डाउन इन सिंगल सेशन क्या 2 मिनट के अंदर फिर 15% डाउन. सो
No, so
सो
that is
दैट्स
insane. Like the weird part is there when they say that investors lose XYZ thousand crores of wealth, and
राइट
the layman will have always be scared. But I used to be scared. Then I realized that as the stock market is growing, the overall capitalization is growing. A single
एग्जैक्टली.
percentage value will obviously grow over time. So it is
The
always
base is
misleading.
increasing, right?
Base is
So
increasing. Yeah, the percentage will obviously absolute terms will grow, even though
correct.
it's a 1% fall.
So because I started so early, 2003, 2004, even now the connotation of Nifty comes in very late. So for
Hmm.
us, everything is
Hmm.
Sensex.
Sensex. Yeah,
तो अगर
I've
आप
seen
बोलोगे
that difference.
हाँ, so if you ask me निफ्टी कितना था उस टाइम पे, I don't remember. If you ask me सेंसेक्स कितना था उस दिन को, I remember
Hmm.
that because that's the connotation we had. So when all this harakiri was happening in 2004, the Sensex was around 4,000 at that time. So
That's 20 times now.
yes, that's
80,000
20
maybe.
times now.
Wow.
Correct.
20 years, 20
So
times.
so that's the genesis actually, from where I started. And this period between 2004 and 2007 is probably what I'll call the golden period.
Hmm.
ये जो बुल रन देख रहे हैं अभी कुछ भी नहीं है as compared to what we saw in that period. You could blindly, I mean, you've definitely read these things, right? You
Yeah,
can
yeah, but
you can get a monkey to put a blindfold and
throw
shoot
a
dart
dart.
board. We were actual monkeys at that time. We could shoot at any stock on the dartboard,
Hmm.
and that stock will go up.
ये
That
तो
was the
like
market bull runs for
I,
us.
yeah, we've seen this in 2021 and then 23, 24. And then I always keep reading like from other people like you and others like this is nothing like the mother was like in 2003 to 2008 like up until that entire period. And then
Correct.
someone is commenting no even that is nothing like from 1990 to 1991, 92 was when like everything was
Ashok
going
Mehta
up.
thing.
Yeah,
Correct.
there was this book
Hmm.
Masterclass with super investors and
Right.
that I remember Mr. Motilal Oswal's interview I think is there
Okay.
if I'm not wrong. And that mentions like they started with 1 or 2 CR and they ended with 100 and 120 CR. And then
Right.
that had
Right.
a 50% drop. And then like those
Right.
figures are astronomical. Like we think like 12% CAGR and they're talking about 10, 20, 30x.
मतलब it was crazy. Like I remember there was this one stock, I think अभी भी है, Rain Calcing or something like that.
Okay.
Uh, that thing I invested some 20,000 rupees. Uh, when I sold it after 1 year, it was 20 lakhs.
100x.
Yes, in a year.
Wow. Wow. ये तो cryptocurrency करेंसी भी is far behind.
हाँ. मतलब so of course all the valuations were all
Hmm.
completely out of whack, but this is what that market was. I mean, you could do whatever you wanted, वैसा type का था. But then हाँ, उसके बाद like Jack and Jill went up the hill. उसके बाद came
हाँ,
tumbling
आया.
after. So we also came tumbling after, and that was a knockdown of about 60-65% for a lot of people, including me. Uh, that kept us out of the market for some
For
time.
sure.
And then again from 2015, I restarted that journey. I now started with mutual funds because I realized that you need capital anyway, right? So I
Hmm.
want to put more of my time on my work. So I said, why not just give 50 paisa to the fund manager to really pick out the real stocks and everything. So 2015, 2014, 2015 is when I re-entered using the mutual fund thing. But then 2-3 साल में थोड़ा strength आ गया, again got into stocks and bit. Uh, and now for the last 2-3 years I've been taking it very seriously as a because now a public figure of sorts, via YouTube. So
Yeah.
it becomes even more important that I do my research well. I have a fiduciary responsibility towards people that whatever I say and whatever I kind of exhibit on those videos is top notch. So I kind of do that quite seriously.
That is a really, I would say, a very good way to approach things like you take your work seriously. Because we see stories left, right, and center, especially with social media influencers. Like money is like the blinding force, like whatever people will do anything to make a quick buck. So it's really good breath of fresh air, I would say, like to see like people like you, like who are taking this seriously, who are doing this not just in terms of a short-term game, but are playing on a much longer horizon, sir.
Yeah, I think it's like uh, a serious person will follow only another serious person.
Yeah, agreed.
And the guy who's like into the uh,
Entertainment
cutting
place.
corners wala mere ko de do,
Uh,
he will always get a person who's himself cutting corners.
hmm,
So that's how fate kind of intertwines with each other. So if you want to do the hard work, there'll be someone who will be equally hardworking, and you two will make a good pair. But
hmm.
if you want to cut corners and say मुझे बस यार एक ऐसा बता दो जो 1 रुपये
हो
will
जाए
give
डबल,
10
हाँ
rupees,
ट्रिपल
हाँ
हो
दो
जाए,
साल
हाँ.
में or something like that, then you'll attract that kind of people only,
Hmm.
who's
Oh,
making those kinds of statements and probably may or may not be able to kind of achieve those kind of things that the person is promising. तो ये सब कर्मा ही है, मतलब आप जैसे सोचोगे, the way you think of it, the same way God will give you, so
happens.
you can figure out for yourself what's good for you.
Yes, sir. Sir, I would just also want to ask you, like today, like what does a day in your life look like, and like what are you most excited about looking forward? going forward? Like, what is the thing that excites you the most?
So now, ever since I became a self-employed person, uh, of course, the salaried one is the usual stuff, right? सुबह
Hmm.
उठे काम पे निकले, वापस
Yes.
आए थके थके से, something like that. But once I became a self-employed person, there are a few things which I kind of noticed. One is that I'm working even harder, uh, but I'm not kind of doing it like a single shot. I mean, there is no, it's not that there's more work, and there's more work doesn't mean you have more hours. What I
Hmm.
realized is that I'm not wasting any time now. So I'm not wasting
Okay.
any time on travel. I'm not
Hmm.
kind of getting into any kind of meetings or anything of that sort. So I'm still working that same 8 hour stretch. But in that 8 hour, the productive time for me is like a good 5.5, 6 hours. While
Okay.
what it was earlier was like probably a 3 hours, kind of productive time, and the others was like just, kind of fillers, etc. So that's one massive change that I've seen. The second very interesting thing when it comes to you being a self-employed person is that you are uh, you don't have that option of saying कि, admin संभाल लेगा या ये संभाल लेगा या वो संभाल लेगा. You have to kind of learn everything that
Hmm.
comes along your way, and that's very interesting, because it kind of opens up new skills for you. Like for example, I make my own thumbnails on my
Oh,
video.
really?
Yes. So the
Okay.
creative part is something which I kind of I was a little creative, but then how to do that even better is something I learned along the way. Now you see my setup, right? You can see the
Huh.
lights. I mean, it's all perfect light, right?
Yeah.
Uh, that's because now I know how to set the light.
Hmm.
So otherwise, the videographer comes at my house to kind of do all this. But then over time, I also learned that, how to do the framing, how to set the lights, how to write better. And this is a very important skill that if you can write well, it really kind of propels you even better. So the day is actually quite busy,
Hmm.
from the morning till about 6 in the evening. But then I can space out things better, So I take my breaks. It's I have now a researcher who works along with me, Priyam. So
Oh.
so he works on the newsletter along with me, and so now there's a small staff we are trying to create. So it's all part of the bigger plan that I want to do. But the first 2 years were more on establishing myself on YouTube, which I think I've now done, now 2.5 lakh subscribers. And now this year, 2025 onwards, I think it's going to be a little more research oriented. And
Okay.
to answer your question, that's what excites me the most. I think content creation, thoda sa, it's become a little monotonous now for me.
Hmm.
What I want people to identify me is not as a content creator. I want people to identify me as a very good researcher. That's my goal and hope that I have for myself.
Oh. All right, so that's great to hear, and I think it's very a good time to like switch gears into the second part of this interview and talking about content creation. I just want to first start with like what like kind of drove you towards like kind of starting on your own because you were with ET Money, you were doing well, you were recognized. I've seen your videos at that time in COVID. I remember when everybody had time and like they was devouring videos. You had multiple videos. Like, what was your main? I would say the trigger point, the inflection point piece where you made like the decision got solidified.
I think there were two catalysts to this entire thing. The first one was the financial condition. I was When I quit in 2022, I had garnered somewhere close to about 2.7, 2.8 CR.
Oh, it's just
That's
your equity investments you're saying.
Yeah, that's my doesn't include EPF, PPF,
Exactly. And
uh,
gold or maybe debt,
घर.
maybe.
हाँ, गोल्ड तो नहीं है, लेकिन घर वर
Debt.
तो इंक्लूडेड नहीं है.
Got it.
दिस
Got
वाज
it.
प्योरली माय म्यूचुअल फंड प्लस माय स्टॉक्स.
Okay.
इक्विटी में हो, डेट में हो, डजंट मैटर.
हाँ.
These two put together. So 2.8 tha. I know it's not a lot in any context, but I had that hope that, this is a decent number for me to kind of,
Oh,
keep.
I'm
And
sorry to interrupt. So is this like your reference to, I remember your math on 12% CAGR, 12.2% CAGR, I mean, 20 years is 10x your money.
correct,
You,
correct.
I
So
in one of
yes.
your interviews, you were like, कि retirement का पैसा है या बस you just need to
Yes,
put
yes, yes.
food on the
Absolutely
table.
right. Absolutely right, Jotpreet, जो आपने बोला. Because this is exactly what I had in my head. That,
Okay.
okay, I have 2 CR with me, for example,
Hmm.
and if I can put that in a 12% instrument, then 2 CR becomes 20 CR by the time I retire. So which means for the next 20 years, if I can get food on the table, for me and my family, and we don't spend too much anyway.
Hmm.
So if I can get food on the table, then we are sorted. मतलब
Okay.
मुझे फिर वो लाइफ में लड़ाई
Rat
झगड़े की
race,
जरूरत
you're
नहीं.
not very driven by rat race. कि I
हाँ,
need
I'm
more,
not driven by
accumulate
that.
more.
So
Hmm.
so so ऐसा कुछ था ही नहीं. So I was like, okay, let's give this a shot. Anyway, the practice has been done over 2 years thanks to ET
Hmm.
Money, and let me try it out. The second thing that helped, so other than the financial part, the second thing that helped is a support structure around you. Uh,
Hmm.
By support, I'm not talking about my mom and dad. They have no idea what I still do. I'll give you an incident on that also. Now my dad has a good idea, so I'll explain that. But I think the people who kind of pushed me into this were people like Sharan of Finance with Sharan Hegde. Uh,
Okay. Oh,
so
you were
he
in touch with him like at that time
Yes.
only.
Yes.
Okay, how lovely.
So in my ET Money days, in fact, Sharan was one of the early subscribers of ET Money channel when his YouTube subscriber base was very small.
हाँ.
तो वो
Yeah.
हमारे YouTube स्टूडियो में आता नहीं था. YouTube Studio gives you the highest ranked subscribers of yours.
हाँ.
Some, some tool there. Uh, so Sharon used to never come there. But then once his YouTube channel blew up, suddenly he became on the top. And
Oh,
that's when I realized that this guy had actually subscribed to the channel, to the ET Money channel, way back in March of 2021.
wow.
So then I connected with Sharan also separately,
Hmm.
and a nice guy he is, very, very, very joyful guy, always ready to help kind of person. And so that's when Sharan actually said that, hey Shankar, I've been a subscriber of yours. In a lot of my reels, I've actually used content, the way you explain
Hmm.
it. That's been very useful for me to understand the concept. And then obviously I dramatize it in the way I want to do it. So Sharan was one of those guys. And then there was another gentleman, Rishabh Jain of Labor Law Advisor.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I've
One of
I've
the
seen
guys
his videos as
out of
well.
the three, yeah, Rishabh.
Hmm.
So Rishabh is another guy who I always look forward to for having a casual conversation, and he's the one who really pushed it. That saying that Shankar bhai, you should try it. And obviously, one of my concerns was that I was earning a lot of money in
Hmm.
eating money. Then how do I
Yeah.
will I get that money back? And he's like, I just give you, he's like, I give you a guarantee कि 2 साल में वो पैसा मिलेगा, नहीं मिलेगा मैं आपको दे दूंगा, डोंट वरी, लेकिन इसको आप करो ऐसे करके. So that also pushed me over the cliff, saying that okay, अब ये भी बोल रहा है, ये भी बोल रहा है, the finances are also in place, so let me give this a shot. And that's what kind of propelled me to try this out. So I'd given myself actually 2 years, saying
Hmm.
that 2 साल के अंदर let's see how much this can go. So even now the what I make from the brand sponsorships for the video plus the AdSense revenue, it's like equal to what I make in ET Money. Because I've never
Yeah.
tried anything else, right? I've not tried
Hmm.
any course or a webinar or
It's like a proper influencer-based model. Like you've not gone on any business side of things much.
I've
Like,
not yet touched business
ah,
side. So I'll touch that
yeah.
business side in this year, this third year of my YouTube journey, of my content creation journey. But for the first 2 years, I didn't touch any of those things.
Hmm.
And now I reached a stage for the last 2, 3 months. I have been able to equal my salary in ET Money. So that like to like compensation, if you see, so that
Ah.
phase has happened for now. So
Wow,
that's
that is
something good.
that is very heartening to hear, sir. मतलब, being someone who kind of like has been observing from a lot of time, I've given just random shots at YouTube and like other platforms. It's really nice to see when you focused. Like that's what this is like. I feel like in your other interviews I listened. So you talked about like 1 year you'll just focus on this one thing. Like the first
Correct.
one and a half years just YouTube. You're not doing. I don't think you were doing much shorts. Like there are a few shorts on your channel,
I
but
think
I
I
don't know
think I
how.
think I was I think I was manipulating people because I don't have the ability to multitask. तो इसलिए मैं थोड़ा घुमा फिरा के बोल रहा था कि I was focusing on this one thing. But yeah, see, I could have done more, Jotpreet. मतलब you're right. I
Hmm.
could have done shorts. I could have done
No, no, sir.
podcasts,
I'm not saying you
done
could have done more,
webinars.
sir. I'm saying like the focus is what gets you the results, sir. I've like spread across, thoda, I've done that, and I've seen like I've not succeeded either. So that's what I was like, so getting into like your focus. Like then you focused on your newsletter. I remember in earlier videos that there was a passing mention, but as time went on, and I realized that you're focusing on your newsletter, like your emphasis on the newsletter and like asking people to subscribe via the videos has
Right.
really gone up. Like it shows ki like okay, it's building up, and I can see like you're up like 45, 46,000 subscribers today. So like
Yeah.
that's focus I saw is like what
Yeah, so
really I've
I want to spend another minute on that because you've touched a right nerve there. So one video of mine, one YouTube video of mine, it takes me around 4.5 days of effort. Uh,
wow.
ये कैसे होता है? The first 2 days is on research and scripting.
Hmm.
Why do I need to script it? Because I use a teleprompter in front of me. So the script is there. So that's why, things are very smooth. If I
Okay.
start not
Rambling.
teleprompter, if I just, kind of take multiple takes, एक तो वो कट 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 लगता रहेगा, अच्छा नहीं लगेगा. ऊपर से I'll be taking a lot of time to finish one single video recording of that. There'll be a lot of filler words in the middle. I don't want any of
Hmm.
this. So I use a teleprompter, so which means I have to research everything, and a lot of my research is original research, and then you have the scripting that happens. So it takes 2 days for that. Recording doesn't take much time. So once Qatar comes in, we set it up, and सब खत्म हो जाता है 3 घंटे के अंदर सब कुछ खत्म हो जाता है. So half a day of recording, and then it takes me one entire day. Now you're wondering ये एक दिन और किस में लगता है? Uh, See, my editor, he obviously doesn't understand finance.
Hmm.
He generally doesn't understand finance. ऊपर से मेरे वाले जो type के videos हैं, you see, it's bit more advanced, right, in terms
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
strategies and all that stuff. So I don't expect him to know anything. He can't make head and tail of whatever I'm saying or sending him as an Excel sheet. So I convert each and every video into slides,
Hmm.
telling him exactly
Okay.
कि जब मैं तेरे को ये शब्द बोलूंगा ना, this is what you have to show on the screen.
Okay.
So for doing this, I make about 120 to 130 slides per video.
And then like just like individually pointing out like at
Yes.
this
So if
minute
the if
I'm
the
saying this
circle has to
thing.
come here, I will show circle here. उसके बाद the circle
Oh,
has to move there, I will make another slide and I will move the circle there so that he
wow.
can replicate that.
Wow.
So it's a lot of work. But the good part is that the effort shows in the videos. And I think
Hmm.
that's what people
Agree.
really respect, and that's what really hooks people onto the videos. But if you want to do content, आपको पूरी शिद्दत से करना पड़ेगा. You can't do it like on a very superficial level and say कि
Hmm.
मैंने तो किया यार, लेकिन क्या हो रहा है यार, मतलब God is not with me. ऐसा सब नहीं बोल सकते. You have to actually take uh, you have to be really possessed with it. Even take that example of a thumbnail. I
Ah.
don't just slap a thumbnail. I'm thinking, oh, what can I do? What
I sir,
dramatically
I
can I
just
do?
wanted to take a second. I've seen that like right from the start. You put Game of
Ah,
Thrones,
from
Lord of
day
the
one, yeah,
Rings.
correct,
You put filter can, and then you used AI up. So you using your face on using
correct,
AI. I can see that. So I've
correct.
seen that as a focus on thumbnails. So I really thought there was some designer you just gave prompts or like some ideas on what do you want.
I tried a couple of designers, but वो ना बहुत ही there was no
Templatized होंगे.
creativity. हाँ, मतलब see,
हाँ.
they had there was graphics there was visuals. Visually it
Hmm.
was very appealing, but there was no creativity that was coming out.
Okay.
So मुझे लगा यार ये मैं ही लेके आ सकता हूँ. And that's why I kind of resorted back to saying that, okay, let me try my thumbnails myself. And even those small things, like in the video, every video you would have seen this Chota Shankar coming out from the
Come in
bottom.
and asking to subscribe. Yeah.
Subscribe. Okay, so I never say in my videos, please subscribe to my channel.
Hmm.
If someone has to subscribe, वो छोटा शंकर को देख के लोग सब्सक्राइब करेंगे. And which is a very subtle way of saying please subscribe,
Got
right?
it.
It's just
Ah,
guys
yeah, yeah.
coming out, pressing that button and all that.
I've also I just like a very small minute like doing YouTube like these are small skills you pick up. When I was editing, I really got to know okay, so this is how you use green screens, and then there were
Hmm.
animations you could come in
Correct,
and like use on editor, and then even in thumbnail like earlier, though my plan was just to like put on Canva whatever was there, and
okay,
then bit by bit I learned Photoshop. Okay, like this is how I edit
right.
my face, this is how I crop out my face from the entire scene.
Right.
So you are like definitely on a much higher level in terms of
I still
definitely
use
thumbnail.
Canva only. And
Okay.
I don't use some pro version of Canva. सब free version में हो जाता है.
Okay, lovely.
You don't
Got it.
need to spend money on all these things. So that's how it works. And yeah, so again, you use the green screen, for example, right?
Huh.
Now, the Chotu Shankar that comes out, that's also green screen only.
Yeah, got
So
it.
it's two green
Oh, it's
screens
a
that.
ready-made animation that like gets on the editor.
हाँ, so जैसे इसमें we had used two green screens. One green screen was behind me, and there
Hmm.
was another green screen in front of me.
Okay.
So मैं नीचे से ऐसे ऊपर आ रहा था.
Ha.
And then,
And
I
then
used to do this and I used to go back into the screen.
yeah.
So we had to use two. There was a green screen and there was a blue screen. So we used that combination to get this thing right. So
Oh, lovely.
there was another very nice one. So my favorite intro is one where I spoke about Quant Mutual. I mean, the video was on Quant Mutual Fund,
Hmm.
but I started that video as if, like the Blair Witch Project. So it's like me and my videographer, we are taking this
Following you.
handheld camera, we're going to Tughlaqabad forest in Delhi, and we're trying
Uh,
to search for something. Uh, and there's these noises coming, ooh, and all that stuff, And I said, oh, mil gaya, aise karke. And then my videographer is like, sir, wo kya hai? And we both start running like crazy, like the Blair Witch Project.
yeah.
So uh, people really loved it, They were like, oh my God, what is this? I mean, who expects this in a finance video?
Yeah, I think like this really stand out. So I've seen this like again finance with Sharan when he blew up like
Correct,
his way of
exactly.
delivery. And
Right.
even I remember my friends referring to Miss C.A. Rachna Rande's video. Like her intros
Ah,
are also very
he
unique.
starts something, some
Yeah,
comical
some story
starting
or some
stuff. Yeah.
song or something like that.
Correct, correct,
Get
exactly,
someone in. Yeah,
exactly.
that definitely works.
हाँ, ज्यादा दिन नहीं चलता है वो थोड़ा. एवरीथिंग हैज अ एक्सपायरेशन पॉइंट. But initially, if it's a novel thing that you do, I think people really respect that effort that one puts in to get this thing right. So that's
Yeah.
something that's there.
Uh,
So all these choto moto cheezein we used to put into our content, and it really used to help people in understanding things better. So in my case, it was obviously. I really like the use of data,
hmm.
because
That
data
is very
helps you
visible. Hmm.
in really getting that retention in your head. Uh,
Yeah.
आई ऑलवेज टेल प्रांजल कि क्या प्रांजल, तुम आते हो और शुरू हो जाते हो अपना कैमरा के सामने. मतलब कुछ तो डाला करो, कुछ तो समझ आए. 12 मिनट तक, 13 मिनट तक खुद बातें कर रहे हो तब से. बट इट्स अ स्टाइल दैट वर्क्स फॉर हिम, बट इट डजंट वर्क फॉर मी. Like I need something moving on the screen all the time, because I
Hmm.
look at YouTube not as an audio medium. I look at it as an audio visual medium. So I need the visual in a content. So that's very important for me.
And I think, sir, there's also function of like what level you're working on. Like I see your deliberate effort of not being too basic in the term type
Correct.
of content you're not like the power of compounding. That's not what you're talking about. Like how do I
Right.
use this, then apply this somewhere else, and then get the results I want. So I think if you would do that style, what maybe Mr. Pranjal does, just come and deliver the content, it might not work because the things that you're talking about will only be seen when I can see the data. You can say ki ha mutual forever. Like for example, a momentum ETF is doing this. But if I don't see the data, I don't see it over
Correct.
years, I don't see the volatility, I will never fully agree with what you're saying. I'll just say, okay, you just said what you wanted to say. So, but
Correct.
with what he's doing, it's like more rudimentary nature with like sit down and listen to me what I'm saying.
Right. Right. Absolutely. In fact, this was a part of a very deliberate strategy,
Yeah,
wherein I did not pick the beginners
correct.
audience, and I
I think you
said,
talked about this in one video also or
yeah,
somewhere. I
I did.
remember this
Yeah.
dialogue, this entire phase that you
Yeah,
mentioned.
because beginners plus, what happens is, while it's not a small market, it's definitely smaller than beginners,
Hmm.
but the competition is very low. So in the beginners
Hmm.
class, there is too much of competition from
Yeah.
Instagram folks, from YouTube folks. But the moment you take it into a beginners plus kind of a audience level, the competition reduces dramatically.
Hmm.
You
The
know,
effort
you
also increases, so that is also a big function.
effort increases, but वो डालने के लिए ready हैं, कोई बात नहीं.
Ah.
The potential revenue also increases.
Oh, I think this is also functional like a slightly mature audience will watch, which will have more spending power, which
Exactly.
is the people advertisers want.
So I'll share some data here.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
in
lovely.
my case, my YouTube viewership, uh, I have more people who are upwards of 35 years of age
Hmm.
than the people lower than that.
Oh, I remember reading one of your community posts just now while I was also doing some additional
Mhm.
research that 25 to 34 में you have a very bulk of your audience, which
I
means a
have
lot of
40
millennials.
percent of my audience in 25 to 34,
34. Oh,
but then I have another 40% in 35 to
35
40.
plus. Wow.
So actually अगर आप 35 and above देखेंगे, that's
हाँ,
almost 58% of my audience, and 42% is below 35.
that is
So
interesting
now
data,
if you
sir.
do an average, if you do a weighted
Hmm.
average kind of a thing, I think my average audience age is 38 years.
38. Wow. That is, I think what really helps here, sir, just like my spitballing, like the competition on Instagram reduces a lot here. Like since this type of content you'll not find, it's very difficult to encapsulate in a minute to
Correct.
share what
Almost
you're going to
impossible.
share.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, and like the audience is not also going to be very serious on Instagram. Like when they're on Instagram, they're just like, I just want to be entertained.
Exactly, exactly. So here it's more of I want to be educated. There it's more of I want to
I'm
be
spending
entertained.
my time, I'm like exchanging my time, but I want something valuable. I don't want to feel
Exactly.
key. I've regurgitated what I already know.
Exactly, exactly. So I think this was a very deliberate strategy because it helps me with capturing. And here's another way of looking at it, right? Uh, अब इतने करोड़ों डीमैट अकाउंट खुलवा दिए,
Hmm.
right? And a lot of the even the finance content creators, they used to have that link in their
Yeah,
bio or
description and
whatever,
comment. हाँ.
description. Yeah, correct. So they got that thing, they got the DMAT referrals and all that stuff. एंड नाउ माय क्वेश्चन वाज, अभी इतने डीमैट करवा दिए, अभी
Hmm.
लोगों ने स्टॉक खोलना भी सीख लिया, करना भी सीख लिया, आईपीओ भी सीख लिया. नाउ देयर क्वेस्ट फॉर नॉलेज, देयर थर्स्ट फॉर knowledge is going to increase further,
Hmm.
but those
Yeah.
guys will not be able to cater to it. So who's going to cater to it? I. So people like me, people like Ishmohit, people like Sahil, all the other people who are part
Hmm.
of this particular thing, they are the ones who will cater to this thirst
Yeah.
that people have for knowledge.
Agreed.
And there are very few. You can count them in your fingers, right? कि ये है,
Hmm.
ये है, ये है, ये है, ये है. That's it. So so it was, as I said, it was a deliberate strategy to go for the beginners plus segment rather than going for the beginners segment.
Got it, sir. And then, sir, like, how do you come up with like content ideas? Like, आपको you've been 2+ years into this space, so definitely coming up with ideas is one of the main things. Like, that is important. So what is your general idea, your process, like, or like, how do you go about finding the ideas or topics for your videos?
I think it comes from curiosity, Jotpreet. So when I look at anything, I am like, इट्स लाइक द थ्री इडियट्स वाला डायलॉग ना, कि वो मैं किसी भी रूम में घुस जाता हूँ कि हर जगह ज्ञान बट रहा है, तो कहीं
हाँ.
से तोड़ लेता हूँ. सो इट्स अ बिट लाइक दैट. सो 90% ऑफ माई वीडियोज इज समथिंग आई हैड वेरी लिटिल इंक्लिंग ऑफ when I started creating that, when I started researching that script. So things
Okay.
like whatever loan against mutual fund, things
Yeah.
like momentum strategy, or those
On that
real.
front, so I think you were like the first, like, in my memory, like I can be wrong, like you're the very first ones who said to or talked about momentum index funds or momentum ETFs
हाँ,
as a
हाँ,
strategy or as
हाँ.
a factor. Like I was
Yeah, I
like
think
instantly
index
hooked.
I was one of the early ones. उससे पहले तो obviously
And after
weekly
that, I've seen a
investing.
string of YouTubers
हाँ.
who've mentioned that in their videos or talked about it. I'm like, okay,
Yes,
okay, but
yes,
like
yes.
I can
संजय
trace
संजय
back the source.
संजय सर ने तो पूरा वीडियो ही कॉपी कर लिया था, मतलब his team like copied the entire video. I was like, यार संजय से पूरा कॉपी कर लिया. अरे यार, I also didn't know this ऐसे करके. So yeah, it happens, but yes, the thought process always is very simple. That you start with an open slate, don't have any kind of preconceived notions on what you want to understand or anything. In fact, this one is a good one. There's this one video which is those two funds which I'll have
Yeah,
my lifetime
lifetime.
portfolio,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Uh, how did I even come to this? So I was actually researching for momentum. And I
Okay.
was going through different journals and all that stuff. Somewhere in some journal, some study, some long paragraph was there. The last line of that paragraph was, generally, value and momentum are weakly correlated. So,
Oh,
so I was like, what is he saying? Weakly correlated. I mean, see, the word correlation, you and I would normally, when we assess it, we would look at two different asset classes. So we
Yeah,
will say gold and equity is
real
weekly
estate and gold or something like
real
that.
estate and something else, or you'll
Yeah.
say debt and go equity or something like that, right? Now he's talking about, I mean, this was my first impression. He's saying value and momentum, which are both into equity, he's saying they are weakly correlated. So can I simply process what I know in equity and gold into value and momentum? And that's what curiosity is. That video is very
Uh,
small, it's hardly 12 minutes.
yeah, yeah. And
But then
the amazing part is you mentioning momentum-based switch, you adding
हाँ
your own
वो
twist.
तो मेरा एक सुपर एक्सपेरिमेंट था even the first one was a basic experiment, this one was like a super experiment. I'm by the way I'm still not very confident of the switch strategy. Okay, it was just mentioned as a experiment for people to at least put their minds across. uh, See, that's what I do in my videos, right? I won't give them the entire thing. I would assume you are big boys and big girls. I can get you 80% of the way. Baki
Hmm.
20% figure out by yourself, depending on your preferences and everything, right? Uh, so here also, the basic idea was to get the momentum and value weak correlation, in
Hmm.
numbers to people, to present it in the form of even if you don't do anything, even if you put 50% here and 50% there, then running a rolling return exercise on top of it to see how much it is. And that's what it came to, right? 15 to 16% across
Yeah.
multiple years on a rolling return basis is what it came down to. That was the main core of that thing. But the genesis was a single line in some obscure study that I read that value and momentum are
Momentum
equally
weekly
correlated.
goal. Wow.
तो आंखें खोल के दिमाग खोल के करोगे ना with no kind
Hmm.
of preconceived notion, I think the chances of you finding and developing good content increases manifold. Uh, I almost never copy content from anywhere. I prefer to read a lot. And once I'm reading, so if you give me one day of reading, I can figure out 10 new ideas for content. Uh,
Oh. So
so,
like do
so
you have
these
like
are
a
not
fixed time or is it like on a rolling basis ki you keep on reading, you involve
जब भी टाइम मिल
अपने
जाए
level पे भी?
जब भी
Okay.
टाइम मिल जाए
Okay.
सो
It's never
नॉर्मली
कि Saturday evening I'll sit and I'll find
नहीं नहीं
five
ऐसा
ideas. ऐसा नहीं
ऐसा
है.
नहीं
Okay.
so as
Got
a
it.
content creator and especially when you're doing such creative work you
Hmm.
can't sit and keep on kind of putting pressure on your brain all the time.
Hmm.
So I would do it for about 45 minutes and then I'll take a break for half an hour.
Hmm.
So I'll have water, then I'll open some random internet पे खोल लूंगा, some random video भी देख लूंगा. So
हाँ.
it's a way of kind of recharging your brain and saying, okay, now that part is over. Now you're going to come up with something else, but I'm giving you some rest time. So in the rest time, I'm going to probably go through some newsletters which I have subscribed to and everything. And कुछ ऐसा एक आइडिया निकल आता है कि अच्छा ये भी तो
Okay.
अच्छा है देखने के लिए. So that's how this entire process goes.
Very nice.
Content creation is definitely not a systematic process. It's a completely asystematic process, and the more you can recognize it, the more successful you can become.
Lovely, sir, lovely. And I'm then just increase my confidence in your videos, knowing like the behind the scenes, the level of depth that has gone into the research, sir. Like I don't know, just like a advice, not an advisor, but like as a viewer, if you could like mention this paper where you found the weak correlation, that would be like insane, sir. Like if you
I'll
put
do
just
an
a small
internet
link.
search and I'll send it to
No,
you
not
separately.
that particular video, but like whenever you're doing it next, it'll just as a viewer, it'll just increase my I'd say like the
Oh,
perceived trust
absolutely.
in you. Definitely, so
Right,
it
right.
goes up many
Absolutely.
folds. Great. So,
Absolutely.
and sir, on the creator side of things, if you don't mind me asking, what are your major sources of income? I'm not asking like
There
figures,
are
but like a broad percentage
No, I'll
splits.
give you figures. मेरे को क्या है, मैं तो सरकार को टैक्स देता हूँ और कोई भी काला धन नहीं है, so I have no problem in that. There are only two sources at the moment.
Okay.
One is Google AdSense. So Google
Hmm.
AdSense pays me about 15 paisa for every view, mota mota.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Got it.
so how many views am I getting in a month? I get between 7.5 to 8.5 lakh views on my channel.
Okay.
So if you do the simple math there, it comes to about 1.1
90.
1.2 lakhs
Yeah.
के आसपास का आ जाता है. इस महीने थोड़ा कम आएगा because I'm not posting any videos. I've taken a break.
Yeah.
1 लाख
In
तक
fact, sir, you should double down on December. What like watching YouTube for many years. December and November is the time where advertisers spend the most amount of money.
हाँ
So your
होगा.
RPM generally goes up. It's like the trend. Like in
Yes.
what YouTubers have done, they'll pump out videos in November and December, and then January they're like we're going on a break because the ad rates plummet.
हाँ हो सकता है. But something interesting happened last January actually, 2024
Hmm.
January. Till December my views weren't that high.
Yeah.
Suddenly January, February, March, April, my views just shot up like crazy.
Okay.
So I was so last year December I made 60,000 rupees in AdSense.
Okay.
This year January, so the very next month,
Hmm.
I was at 1.3 lakhs.
Doubling.
February
Very good.
was 1.3 again. March was even higher, 1.4. April was 1.5.
Wow.
उसके बाद वापस मई में घट गया. उसके बाद मई में it came down to some 1 lakh or something like that. So I think you're right. So there will be a phase where the advertiser is ready to pump more money,
More money. Yeah.
and there will be a phase where there are more viewers on call,
Yeah.
who really want to kind of watch videos. Maybe
They
it's a
have more
part of
time.
New Year resolution or something, I don't know. But जनवरी में एकदम भर भर के
People
व्यूज
were
आने
there.
लगे.
Oh,
हाँ.
that's really interesting. I just had that idea in my mind, like December, like especially gaming and all oriented creators, because people had
हाँ.
time in holidays and everything, and they're spending
Right.
money for festivities and everything. But really
No, no.
interesting,
In
sir.
in 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 Delhi, there's a problem with December. विंटर हो जाता है यार, मन नहीं
Huh.
करता बैठ के वीडियो वीडियो सब बनाने का करके. सो एंड लास्ट दिसंबर मैं बीमार भी पड़ गया था. सो
Okay.
ऑल दैट थिंग केम टुगेदर. मूड
But
नहीं
yeah,
करता
huh.
बिल्कुल
Sorry,
भी.
sir, I was interrupting you. You're saying one is AdSense and then the other one is brand
Ah, the
sponsorships.
second one is the sponsorships. So I
Okay.
make, unlike most of the other creators, I make only 4 videos in a month.
Hmm.
Uh, but all the four are sponsored.
Okay.
Uh, I charge after paying off commission to my agency. It comes to around one से लेके 1.1 के बीच में
Oh, per video.
पर वीडियो. सो चार नहीं बोलेंगे, पांच हो जाता है.
Hmm.
सो बेसिकली पांच मेरा यहाँ से हो गया, पांच सवा पांच के आसपास यहाँ से हो गया.
One and
एडसेंस
then.
अनदर 1.2. तो
Lovely, sir.
6.5 के आसपास ये हो गया. वो जो
तो नजर
1.2
ना लगे सर, नजर
वन
ना
पॉइंट
लगे
टू में
आपको
जीएसटी
लगी
देना है.
गुड.
अ,
कोई
हाँ तो
बात नहीं सर, nobody is asking for your tax returns.
नहीं नहीं मतलब
We're
नहीं नहीं.
happy with the top line
No,
numbers.
but I
EPS
have
नहीं
to calculate
calculate
now.
कर
See,
रहे.
you're talking to someone who understands, who only understands mathematics, right? तो मैं जब calculate करता हूँ तो मेरे को वो perfect number चाहिए.
I
तो
can see that कीड़ा in you sir कि वो post tax वाला end figure की बात करो
हाँ
जो
मैं तो
बैंक में
पोस्ट
यूज
टैक्स ही
कर सकते
देखूंगा.
हो.
व्हाई शुड आई
हाँ.
लुक एट,
या या
व्हाई शुड आई गिव यू समथिंग व्हिच इज नॉट राइट, करेक्ट. तो मेरे
या
को पोस्ट टैक्स करके ही दूंगा. एंड उसके बाद जो इनकम टैक्स देना वो तो मैं दे ही रहा हूँ, राइट. सो एटलीस्ट आई
या
गिव
या
यू द ग्रॉस नंबर, राइट. सो इट आई थिंक इट कम्स टू 6.2 इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग.
lovely sir. May God keep this in an ever increasing trajectory sir. Really happy to see
I'm very
somebody be as
hopeful for this year.
transparent. Very
I'm very kicked about this coming year, because I think this is the year when whatever I have done over the last 2 years, right? Uh, See, technically देखा जाए तो notionally I would have earned a lot more had I still been a salaried this thing, right? When you
hmm.
look at the last 2 years of how much I've made cumulatively.
Hmm.
Uh, but uh, but this is what is good about self-employment, that you put in the hard yards for like a couple of years, but then you can reap the rewards for the next 20 years.
This is what you mentioned in your 1 to 10, the 0 to 10 CR journey also. Ki
हाँ
the
हाँ
second or
हाँ.
the third year is when like the jump is so massive that salary jumps cannot comprehend
Exactly.
that.
It's a complete hockey stick jump that
Hockey
happens.
stick, yeah.
And if I play my cards right, I can actually अभी कितना बोला, 6.2 निकला ना.
6.2.
uh, it can be as high as 5x of what I'm making right now.
Wow. On an
In,
individual level, you're saying like what
on
will
an
accrue to
individual level,
you.
it's a one person company, right? At the end of the day,
Okay.
uh,
Wow.
and I have one researcher PM. Maybe I'll
Hmm.
get one or two more. So see, I truly believe in this, that a 4-5 member team is capable of making 10 crores a year.
Ah. Yeah,
You
I'm
have
confident with the leverage of internet, sir,
correct,
and
correct.
100%. Even
So like
SOIC, I think, is a much larger organization
much
now,
larger. I mean,
but
if I have to profess a guess as to how much they are making, I would say they're making 30-40 CR.
You can do a number as towards saying like a numbers game. They have like 8,700 members in the Telegram group, so I'm part of their membership, and
Where is that?
huh?
वो पेड है?
हाँ हाँ, जो कोर्स दे हैव ना, तो कोर्स के साथ दे गिव यू अ लिंक टू द टेलीग्राम ग्रुप पे, like
अच्छा अच्छा,
Ishmohit
वैसा,
is
ओके
putting
ओके,
updates
हाँ
and
हाँ
everything.
हाँ
So
हाँ
that
हाँ,
is only like if you're part of the membership.
ओके
So
ओके
there are
ओके।
around 8,700 members there, and on average it's like a 15,000 per year charges, if I'm not
हाँ,
wrong.
तो 10,000 समझिए कि टोटल
That
मेंबर है, 10,000 इंटू 15 करेंगे वही 15 करोड़ हो गया।
13 to 15 CR.
हाँ
That's
हाँ
the
हाँ,
yeah.
करेक्ट।
Over and above, like is like one-off registrations for any event. Like you can pay 500 for one webinar also. So
Oh,
वो
that
सब
that
भी
you're
they do.
that you're only talking about the training side of the business, but then
Now
knowing
they started their
the
pay
research is
PMS also.
separate
Yeah,
ना।
yeah. They
I'm pretty
started
sure।
then.
अरे मैं तो कुछ भी नहीं कर रहा, मेरे पास महीने में 2 फैमिली ऑफिस आते हैं और आके बोलते हैं कि शंकर जी आप हमें ये बताइए, आपका न्यूज़लेटर बहुत बढ़िया है, एंड
हाँ।
यू गिव अस आइडियाज, यू टेक अ रिटेनर फ्रॉम अस। मैंने बोला सर कितना रिटेनर दोगे? बोलता आप ले लो हमसे 3 लाख रुपए महीने का। मैंने बोला सर ये सब नहीं होगा मुझसे, मैं
So
इतना स्ट्रेस ले सकता
this
लाइफ
is
में।
the targeting the whales wala concept, and like for them feel like it's nothing if they're so happy to
हाँ,
come up to you and
बिकॉज दे
offer
हैव सो
that
मच
money.
ऑफ मनी, हाँ, सो
For
दे
them it's
लाइक
not
ले
even a
लो।
minuscule percentage at best.
हाँ, कोई बोलता है 2 लाख ले लो, कोई बोलता है 3 लाख ले लो महीने का, समथिंग लाइक दैट। आई आई सर मैं स्ट्रेस नहीं ले सकता इतना, मेरे को नहीं भाता है करके। तो सो अगर मेरे पास 2 लोग ऐसे आ रहे हैं महीने में, इमेजिन हाउ मच विश मोहित गेट्स।
Yeah, yeah. So they have started their own PMS now. Now, like I think
एग्जैक्टली
their end goal is would be to start their own mutual fund also. But
एग्जैक्टली।
Persistence Capital, they've started. They've started gathering. When we were at the event, I think they launched it. The registration and all just got completed for Category 3 AIF fund. I was talking to
But you
Sarthak.
should talk to Ishmohit very quickly. He's very happy. Manchester United finally won something.
I went to see that match in Elante Mall nearby
अच्छा अच्छा,
on
देखिए
screening.
देखिए,
My friends
हाँ।
are also United fans, so
Right, right, right. Yeah. So was very happy. Although I saw the 2 goals that happened, it's like
the second one was still good, sir. Like first one was the
second one was
penalty,
still good.
second
The
was still
first
good.
one was the penalty. वो तो
हाँ.
regular Bruno Fernandes आ जाएगा, वही होता है. But yeah, so yeah, he's very happy about it. So finally, the Manchester United has
It's
something to
turning
go for.
UFO. Yeah.
Go guys.
Great. So, sir, if you were to advise someone like me, like somebody who's just starting out with, at the very beginner level, like what would be your advice to like maybe work this aside with the job? Like I would just say to be very blunt, like अगर आपको मेरे को guidance देनी हो, what would you say to basically have like should we focus on something say X or focus on Instagram or anything? What would be sir your advice basis you've been creating content for multiple years and you've
Uh,
seen so many trends and cycles?
I would say there are 2 ways to go about it, because now what's happened, Jotpreet, is that when I was a salaried person, the discussions used to be only one track. कि यार
Hmm.
ये मेरा मैनेजर बहुत गंदा आदमी है, मेरे को
Hmm.
सिर्फ हाइक मिल रहा है इस बार सिर्फ 10% का, टिपिकल काइंड ऑफ
Corporate
स्टोरी,
discussions. Yeah.
corporate discussions. But now that I'm a self-employed person, I'm meeting so many other people. I see the amount of talent that's there in others and the kind of stuff that they're doing. What I've realized is दो तरीके हैं. One
Okay.
is you produce, or you become the middleman. Someone else is producing, someone else wants this thing, and you make a cut out of it.
Hmm.
So I've seen both these models now. Okay, I'll
Okay.
give you an example. There's the guy who does my editing, Akhil. This
Yeah.
gentleman,
You
I
mentioned him in his video also.
exactly. So when I first met him in October of 2022, immediately after I'd quit my job and I started this, was starting this thing, he was doing a billing of 9 lakh rupees a month. ये शायद मैंने वीडियो में नहीं बताया था, so this is
हाँ.
something.
No.
So he was doing a billing of 9 lakh rupees a month. Today, he does a billing of 6 crores a month
What?
in a matter of 2 years. What's the margin in this kind of a business? About between 15 and 20%.
It's like providing video editing services to
Ah,
creators.
so not just video editing, it's influencer marketing as well,
Huh. Okay.
stuff like that. So everything related to video and marketing and all that stuff. So what he's doing, he's a middleman. He has creators, he has brands. So
Hmm.
he comes in the middle of the two of them, makes sure that
Yeah.
the supply and the demand is taken care of, and he makes a 15 odd percent cut out of it. So 6 CR into 15% is
90 lakhs.
90 lakhs a month.
Oh.
A month. वो 9 लाख पे था, एक महीना रेवेन्यू कर रहा था, अभी 90 lakhs पर मंथ
Margin
प्रॉफिट
कर
कर
रहा है.
रहा है.
Wow.
So I have seen the shift, and when I look at these guys, it's so inspiring. And this is not the only guy. I've seen so many people like this who have really made that shift, and they're doing extremely well. So ये क्रिएटर बन के भी हो सकता है और मिडलमैन बन के भी हो सकता है. सो बेस्ड ऑन योर interests, your passions, what you like, what you've observed. Another big advice I'll give you is that please don't talk to only salaried people.
Hmm.
Talk to people who are non-salaried, who are either doing a business, either they are self-employed people. Talk to them also. Because the entire discussion, when you talk to the salaried guy, I've told you what the discussion is. When you talk to the self-employed guy, when two self-employed people are talking, the only thing they're discussing is, yeah, how can I grow? How can I double this year?
Hmm.
मेरा ये अटक गया यार, मैं सिर्फ 2 करोड़ रुपए कमा रहा हूँ महीने का, मैं इसको 4 कैसे करूं? दिस इज द डिस्कशन.
Okay.
सो इट चेंजेस योर माइंडसेट कंप्लीटली. यू आर लाइक व्हाट आर यू डूइंग, ऐसे करके एक फीलिंग आता है लाइफ में कि मैं कर क्या रहा हूँ यहाँ पे करके. And then there are a lot more advantages, Jotpreet. People say, people make up their mind. They have these self beliefs. अरे पैसा तो क्या हाथों की मैल है, or something, some word like that, some phrase like that they would have thought. But if you really look at from a from an internalizing thing, you as a salaried person, you are here, you have a job because someone else
Just
had
selling.
the gall to actually start a business,
Yeah.
and you're working for that guy.
Hmm.
So before anyone, kind of talks bad about a businessman or the fact that, business is like this or that, you please understand that as a salaried person, you are working because someone else had the balls to start a business.
Yeah, that's correct, sir.
Yeah, so this is the best way of internalizing what I'm trying to say here. And yes, the advice is either you create something, either you be the middleman. And another very important thing, I've realized it now. Uh, don't try to be a self-employed person for long. So you can
Okay.
start. I'll
Hmm.
explain that what I mean by
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Important to understand. Uh, like in my case, I give you my revenue numbers. I give you what
Hmm.
exactly I do in a month. You remember those 4 videos in a month?
Yeah, yeah.
If I don't make those 4 videos, my salary goes down. My money goes down from 6 to 1.
One.
Correct?
Yeah.
6 to 1 lakhs, which means those 4 videos, I'm effectively still in a salary.
Hmm.
I have not leveraged anything. This realization came to me some 6, 7, 8 months back.
Oh,
That
I
people
think
are
you were on
so
a
happy.
short break also, if I'm not wrong, right? Like when you were not making videos for a short duration.
हाँ नहीं, वो तो ठीक है, वो सब साइड में रखिए. बट व्हाट आई रियलाइज इज दैट देयर इज स्टिल अ अपर लिमिट टू माय इनकम. बिकॉज मैं
Hmm.
सिर्फ 4 बना सकता हूँ, मैं अब सडनली 40 तो नहीं बना सकता.
हाँ.
Physically not possible for me, which means I have put in a cap to my upper income as well, without me even knowing it. तो वो जो मैं
Hmm.
बात करता हूँ, मुझे फ्रीडम मिल गया, ये मिल गया, वो मिल गया, कोई फ्रीडम नहीं मिला अभी तक. I get freedom only if I start leveraging it. And that's where my newsletter comes in, which is the second part of my content
Hmm.
strategy. Now, the way I'm trying to use the newsletter is by offering something which can be offered to one person or can be offered to 45,000 people, like what you've seen now, the current subscribers. But that same one letter can be offered to 4.5 lakh people also.
Yeah.
I don't have to make 10
The
times the
effort,
effort.
yeah, effort goes in is the
Ah,
same. The
ah,
newsletter is the same.
that is leverage.
So then wouldn't
That
you
is
say like even videos is the same? The effort to make the video
correct.
is like you make the effort for one video when you were at 10,000 subscribers and had
Correct.
5,000 views, for example,
Correct.
the amount
Correct.
of effort went in was the same. Now at 250,000 subscribers, the effort is the same, but the viewership is again 10x, 20x, 30x.
But it doesn't give you that much.
Okay.
It doesn't give you that much, right? It's like pennies, effectively देखा जाए तो. So, I mean, the point is right. Like today, if I don't post a single video for a month,
Hmm.
I'll get about 75,000 rupees, 70,000 rupees.
Baseline, that's your baseline basically.
That's my baseline based on all the previous videos which I have created.
Hmm.
70,000 is nothing, na Jotpreet.
Hmm.
I have to think from that perspective also, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how this newsletter thing can
Yeah.
develop?
I just what are your plans if you don't mind me asking, like what is in your head like with the newsletter, like what's
So
going
it's
in
still a
25?
bit fuzzy, but I can tell you what I
Yeah,
think is.
broadly. Yeah.
So the newsletter becomes a major kind of acquisition channel for me. How
Hmm.
does it work? Is that I put in a lot of effort in my newsletter. I've hired a person also. I'm paying him money. I'm using my own time. Uh, I'm gonna take one more person in. The idea is to give people some excellent investing ideas,
Okay.
and to do it free of cost for now.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to get that top line of mine. Okay. Now, let's say you are one of those guys and you love what I do. In a month, I would have about 3 to 4 opportunities.
Hmm.
And by God's grace, all recommendations have been doing well. And I'm very transparent about it. So every quarter,
Yeah.
I a
Review.
newsletter review kind of a thing. I put in what's working, what's not working, and stuff like that. Uh, and I'll continue it this way only. Uh, But over time, Jotpreet becomes a person who really loves my work, and you start investing your hard-earned money into my ideas also.
Yeah.
You're making money, you're happy. You've got 30%, 40% out of my ideas. Uh, I'm sure there'll come a time when Jotpreet will say, अरे सर ये तो आपने बता दिया मेरे को but you should also tell me if there is a time when all the thesis that you've put in is not working for me or were not working, or
Okay.
if there's a time when there is some changes which have happened that I need to exit this particular stock, or do I need to buy more of this stock, or should I hold on to this stock. So you want me
Hmm.
to track your stock also.
Okay.
Okay, so while I'm giving you the investing idea free of cost, when it comes to creating the tracking engine, because that requires me
Hmm.
to add
Hmm.
even more people, I'm going to charge some money from you.
Okay.
So let's say I have what, 45,000 people right now. Let's say 2,000 people say, okay, Shankar, this makes sense for us also. You can charge some money. That becomes a part of my subscription package.
Okay. This is like, if correct me if I'm wrong, it's like kind of borderline advisory kind of, wherein you can help them. Ki, okay, this is what we discussed, and this
Actually, I've
is how
applied
it's
for a
working.
RA license.
License. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
applied for
Okay.
it. So hopefully in a couple of months it'll come in. So before I even offer this community kind of a thing, which I'm referring to, this paid product, I want to get my license first.
Yeah.
So right
Makes
now I'm
sense. Yeah.
not doing anything where I'm charging money from people
Hmm. It's
for
all
for
education based,
all
basically.
education.
Yeah.
I don't charge a single paisa from anyone. So everything is free of cost, and hopefully that stays within the light gray shade of SEBI, because everything is, uh, you
And the
know,
scrutiny
shades
of
of gray
SEBI.
only. So
Yeah. Yeah.
hopefully that's not a problem for people and for the regulator. But once I start taking money from people, I would prefer to be a RA, and I would. So even in the application, I've explained all this stuff.
Okay.
So when I've sent this application, I've explained the stuff, saying that this is what I have, this is what I'm going to do, this is what the future
Hmm. Hmm.
is going to
Hmm.
look like for me, blah 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 blah. Right? They have a problem, they'll connect with me, and we'll have a discussion कि क्या कर सकते हैं, क्या नहीं कर सकते हैं.
But yeah.
But I've been very
But
transparent
lovely
about
thought process. I've seen this kind of things work in like US markets mainly. I've been on Twitter for a
it.
long
Okay,
time. So I've seen like investors or like handles who get a following and then they have their newsletters and then they
correct,
charge for that newsletter or their ideas. So the
correct,
newsletter and whatever content is free. But if you
correct.
want their ideas, their portfolio, then you'll basically pay for that.
This
So
was a
great.
this was a very tough decision actually, Jotpreet, because initially I thought I'm going to charge for the newsletter. But
Okay.
then, and everyone is like, even in the comments of my newsletter, you will see this thing. People are writing, why are you giving this free of cost?
Huh.
ऐसा कोई लिखता है क्या?
Okay.
So people are writing like this, why are you giving this free of cost? When is your paid community coming and all that stuff?
Hmm.
But then I thought, why restrict? कोई ठीक है, यूज करना चाहता है कर ले, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, लेट देम यूज इट
Hmm.
for the auxiliary services, because I need to invest also for that.
Yeah.
I'll charge some money for that, but let
Okay.
this also go out. So YouTube, I want to keep it free for people. The newsletter, I want to keep it free for people. It's only the auxiliary services is where some charge comes. Like another auxiliary service is small case.
Small case. You've
uh,
discussed this in one of the videos I was listening.
yes,
Ki
and
the
and
runway.
but this is a different small case. I don't want to get into this fund management wala stress and everything. So one of the simplest small cases can be that I have all these videos which I've created: coffee can investing, trending
Hmm.
value,
Hmm. Hmm.
users portfolio, magic formula, all these things are there. I convert that into the small case. So I
Okay.
give you a system and I charge very nominally for it. Okay, but it's a system. And of course,
Okay.
I will do my value add in terms of knocking off the corporate governance issues, Brightcom type की companies जो आ जाती है किसी किसी इसमें,
Uh,
knock them off and everything. And you know, then It's hopefully our prayer that hopefully these things end up doing well. But one has to keep it more like a passive index kind of a thing.
Hmm.
कि trending value strategy के हिसाब से
Yeah,
ये
trending value. I was just going to chip in.
हाँ,
Like that is the video that I think will the most number of people will be happy to pay. Also, like if you're updating it every quarter or
that
every year
and
or something like
GARP
that.
also.
Gap
If
also.
there are
Yeah.
two I like trending value, but I like GARP over trending value. But
Oh,
both
trending
of them
value.
are equally powerful.
Yeah, got it, sir. Got it. And said with that, just like switch gears into investing, sir.
Sure.
This is one interesting question I always had and like asked Ishmohit also when I had the chance to talk to him. So, how do you first as a salaried individual and then as a self-employed individual, how do you basically handle salary flows? So, one idea is shut it and forget it. Like you choose whatever, choose an index fund, choose an active fund, whatever, and
Yeah.
like every month I'll put in X amounts of money.
Right.
But if you're especially investing in stocks, sir, when you're maintaining your portfolio, then you are having a much detailed view of, okay, what is the general idea of my valuation? What is the theme? What is the overall play here? Then how are you handling monthly flows? So if you've decided I'm
Hmm.
going to put 25,000 this month, but it's a month like June, July 2024, where everything is just like insanely richly valued. Then how are
Right.
you handling your money flows every month then?
Yeah, so I don't bother much. So top num so I think layer number one is to divide this money into your core and your satellite portfolio. So
Okay.
core portfolio is where it's entirely based on mutual funds. So as I said, 80% of my money is in mutual funds. तो वो जो 25,000 रुपीज होगा वो 20,000 चला जाएगा मेरा
Mutual
म्यूचुअल फंड
funds.
में और बाकी 5,000 जो बच गया दैट इज माई एडवेंचर पोर्टफोलियो सो दैट बिकम्स माई स्टॉक्स के लिए सो दैट्स layer number one.
Okay.
Second layer is that within the mutual fund itself, there has to be a blueprint in front of you कि मेरे को कहाँ पे कैसे कैसे इन्वेस्ट करना है. Like in my case, I follow that 3 by 3 grid. If you've seen
Hmm.
it in one of the
Value
videos,
research, Pala, if I'm not wrong.
हाँ समथिंग लाइक दैट सो वैल्यू रिसर्च
Yeah.
जैसे मैंने अपना एक 3 by 3 ग्रिड बनाया है ऑन एक्स एक्सिस यू हैव योर size of the company which is large caps small caps and mid caps and on the y axis you have the three styles of investing which is growth investing value investing and momentum investing
Okay.
so so once I make this 3 by 3 wala grid uh, what I've technically done is वो जो 2000 म्यूचुअल फंड्स है ना अपने देश में
Hmm.
आई डोंट बॉदर विद दैट आई बॉदर ओनली कि मेरी 3 by 3 में क्या फिट होता है
Okay. So
तो
you can
सम
just pick
सम
like an example if there's an XYZ mutual
yeah
fund.
sure I can give you that entire thing so for example let's take one of the schemes so let's say I want to fit something into the value box
Okay. So
ठीक है
that's a personal decision that you want something in value, then you want something in momentum. Is that a call also you take?
no it's my call that
Okay.
how much I want also is important so for example
Yeah.
between large mid and small I keep 50 25 25
Yeah. I remember that in one of your asset allocation videos. Yeah.
समवन लाइक यू माइट से नहीं नहीं मैं रखूंगा 33 33 33 रख लो नो
Hmm.
प्रॉब्लम there's no
Hmm.
hard and fast rule ki what is the best or what is the bad one or anything like that similarly amongst if you look from a growth value and momentum perspective growth I keep about 65%
Hmm.
value I keep about 15-20 के बीच में and the remaining 15-20 goes into the momentum box
Yeah.
so that's how I've
Okay.
divided it. So
Got it. Got it.
once I do this, it becomes very easy for me. So for example, if I want, like I have Parag Parik Flexi Cap decent quantity with me, and it's an SIP also for me. Uh, so that goes into the box of
Value.
large, a little bit of mid, and value.
Yeah.
Correct? तो वो मेरा box कर गया. Then I also have this Nifty 500 Momentum 50 fund.
Hmm.
So that starts going into my momentum wala
Momentum.
box.
Yeah.
Similarly, I have one actively managed small cap fund, like I think it's an HDFC small cap fund or something. So that goes into my growth small
Small
cap
cap.
wala box में चला गया. So I fit everything within my blueprint.
Got it. Yeah.
Otherwise क्या होगा ना जोतप्रीत you will you have a lot of this noise coming from here and there. Suddenly, someone will come with a defense का NFO or whatever index fund or whatever. तो आप
Hmm.
डिफेंस खरीदोगे अचानक कोई और आके आपको चमकाएगा कि यार आईटी तो अभी बहुत बड़ा होने वाला है देन यू गो फॉर दैट समवन विल स्टार्ट सम ईवी फंड और समथिंग
Yeah.
करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है यू स्टे विद इन द बॉक्स
Okay. And then say like every month you have like a fixed portion key, just 65, 25, 15, or whatever ratio is there.
हाँ
Whatever
आई
money
हैव
you're
माय
going to put
फाइव
in,
सिक्स
20,000 you will split into those proportions.
yes 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 I
Okay,
do it
that is
equally I have, I think, nine SIPs at the moment,
All of
but
same amounts.
हाँ, पांच मेरे मेन हैं।
हाँ.
अ, मैं उसी पे ही ज्यादा ध्यान देता हूँ।
Yeah.
सो दैट्स वेयर आई पुट एनीवे फ्रॉम 20 to 30,000 रुपीज एवरी मंथ, टक 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 करके जाता रहता है।
Got
एंड
it.
स्टॉक्स पे आजकल थोड़ा ज्यादा जा रहा है
हाँ,
बिकॉज
then stocks में how do you handle? Because you know valuations will change. Then you also
हाँ
sell
so
something in between to trim something. हाँ.
हाँ, so stocks, has been a kind of a evolutionary journey for me.
Sure.
And that has to be the case for everyone who is listening on the
Yeah.
call, or anyone who has invested in this lifetime. Uh, you will learn over time. That's
Hmm.
always the case, okay?
Hmm.
And you will improve it, you will get better at it. Like now, in my case, my biggest comfort comes from stocks where there is revenue and margin visibility.
Okay.
ठीक है, तो मेरे को अभी वो उसमें कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं है कि यार रेलवे, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया रेलवे का बहुत ऑर्डर देने वाली है। हाँ तो
Order
देने दो,
book
कोई
investing,
बात नहीं। हाँ
basically.
या यार ईवी इज द फ्यूचर ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन इन द वर्ल्ड। मैंने ठीक है, होने दो, कोई बात नहीं।
Hmm.
बट so I don't do sector based, I don't do macro based, I do bottom up stock picking.
Okay.
So if company XYZ says कि भाई एक साल में हमारा इतना हो जाएगा रेवेन्यू, इतने मार्जिन पे रहेगा, एंड दिस इज द प्रूफ दैट इतना हो जाएगा, आई हैव बेसिक मैथमेटिक्स एंड इंटेलिजेंस टू अंडरस्टैंड कि भाई इसका इतना ईपीएस बढ़ने वाला है, देयरफॉर इसका इतना स्टॉक बढ़ सकता है। So that is what I do.
Got it.
I don't use the screener too much, honestly. Uh,
Then how are your major investment ideas generated? Like, is it
Very
like some
difficult.
forum?
We do it randomly.
That, okay, got it.
किसी ने ट्विटर पे कुछ लिख दिया,
You
हो
started
सकता
going
हो सकता है इररिलेवेंट हो,
rabbit hole.
हाँ आर्बिट्री कुछ होगा, लेकिन मैंने बोला
हाँ.
चल यार देख लेते हैं, भाई बोल रहा है तो समझ लेते हैं। एंड समटाइम्स फ्रॉम देयर सम रियली गुड ones actually come out.
All
आई
right.
हैव स्टिल नॉट बीन एबल टू डिफाइन अ सिस्टम फॉर माई सेल्फ कि कैसे करना है करके।
हाँ.
बट समटाइम्स वी गेट सरप्राइज कि यार ये भाई ने तो कुछ और लिखा था, लेकिन हमने तो
निकला
कुछ
कुछ
और
और.
बढ़िया
हाँ.
निकाला है ऐसे करके।
Yeah.
सो ऑल दिस स्टफ केम आउट ऑफ दिस काइंड ऑफ अ रैंडम this thing only. Like there was this one on Zaggle.
Hmm.
Zaggle पे तो उसने कुछ और some random सास वैस का लिख रहा था, कहानी लिख रहा था and all that stuff. But I found this name very interesting, Zaggle करके, मैंने खोल के देखते हैं। And then once we read this entire thing, I was like, oh my God, what is happening here? मतलब this is like kind of a gold mine right now, ऐसे करके। So I invested there. BLS was another very interesting one because one of the top three visa processing
Hmm.
centers in the world. I never knew this. फिर पढ़ा समझा, figured out that they've bought this new thing in Turkey, and if you buy, so it's like एक कारखाना था, दो बन गया,
Yeah.
तो आपका रेवेन्यू तो डबल हो ही रहा है ना।
Hmm.
चलो डबल भी नहीं हुआ, लेट्स से दैट्स एट 50% capacity, but still there is some extra
Jump. Yeah.
jump that's happening in revenue, right? So the revenue
Correct.
visibility goes up. And now this new karkhana, let's say that is a new karkhana, so that is giving you better margins also.
Hmm.
So your
Higher value
overall margins
products.
also
Yeah.
go up.
Yeah.
So मतलब it's like सामने तो दिख रहा है सब कुछ. So why should I make a projection which is 5 years later कि हम
Hmm.
2030 में इतना बड़ा बन जाएंगे, और some stuff like that. That doesn't really excite me. What excites me is what's going to happen in the next 2 years. What's going to happen in the next 1.5 years? Because I have now changed from someone who says that I want to buy a company today and
Hold forever.
hold
Logic
for
of
20
it.
years.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely right. Hold for 20 years. I am now saying I will hold for 20 years, but I will hold for 2 years multiplied by 10.
Hmm.
So
You have to
every
keep
two
proving
years I
to
want
me
to review
that
it.
you're doing well. Basically.
Every 2 years I want to review it. So
Hmm.
instead of buy and forget, I'm happier buying and monitoring.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a term for this, active patience or something like that.
अच्छा नहीं सुना।
Where you're being patient, but you're like actively monitoring
Actively.
everything.
You
Yeah.
have to be. I mean,
Yeah.
you talk about Rakesh Jhunjhunwala holding on to Titan for 20 plus years, Rakesh and Rekha Jhunjhunwala. Uh,
But
you
it's done
think
so
he
well.
never thought about it? Of course, he must be thinking about it every year, right? He must be reviewing the numbers. He must be getting on those
Hmm.
calls, shouting at the management, saying, "क्या कर रहे हो तुम लोग मेरे पैसे का?" He must be doing all this stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
And
agree.
that's what a good investor does. He has a clear idea. And Jotpreet, this helps. I'll tell you how this helps. There have been about five, six companies where I've put in the money and I've pulled out that money after 2 to 3 to 4 quarters. Because I
Okay.
used to notice kya ho raha hai.
Hmm.
Like there's this company, Stellite Technologies. It's a
Yeah.
Vedanta affiliated kind of a company.
Hmm.
And I used to observe this कि पहले मैनेजमेंट ने एक क्वार्टर में कुछ बोला, दूसरे क्वार्टर में तो वो भूल
कुछ.
ही गया उसके बारे में. And he's now moving into some other direction. And then the third quarter, something else is happening. I was like, oh my
Okay.
God, this is not trustworthy enough for me. I'm sorry. I'm a little afraid of keeping my money in this company. So I exited. And what happened is these four, five companies, they have never been able to improve beyond my exit amount. तो होता है ना कि मैंने एग्जिट कर लिया उसके बाद बढ़ गया, ऐसा
बढ़
कभी नहीं.
गया.
वो घटा ही
Oh.
रहा. I mean, it's worse off than what it was before. So maybe my skills are improving over time. That's also possible. Uh, uh, and the more you read, the more you get, not just in terms of content, but also
Hmm.
in terms of your own conviction in your stock picking and improvement in your stock picking ideologies and practices.
100%. So, sir, I would just like to request again, as a viewer and as a reader of yours, in your newsletter, if like monthly or whatever frequency will suit you. So, if you could just I'm sure you would have been writing down, noting these things down on your own. But if you could
Hmm.
just talk about these things on a monthly basis, it will be really insightful to read. Ki, okay, for example, this company, don't name the company, that's even also okay.
Okay.
But like this player, like some suppose a satellite player, this is what I observed and this is why I exited. It'll be really lovely to gain insight into, okay, why are you thinking the way you're thinking?
No, so that I want to put it as a part of the community, Jotpreet,
Oh,
when it
okay, perfect. Makes
two,
sense.
three, four
Makes sense.
months from
Makes
now.
sense.
I would
Great,
have
great.
more stuff inside that community.
Hmm.
Because newsletter mein na, so newsletter has this limitation. We don't know this, but once I observed it. So what happens is there's not a limitation of the amount of words that you can write. There's a limitation of the file size, of the email size.
Oh, you cannot put too
तो
many images,
हाँ,
etc.
यू कांट पुट टू मेनी इमेजेस, तो उसका कोई एक साइज होता है, 3 MB का या
Oh,
4 MB का, ऐसा कुछ होता है. सो आई ऑब्जर्व कि मैं डाल रहा हूँ एंड देन इट इज गिविंग मी अ वार्निंग, सबस्टैक इज गिविंग मी अ वार्निंग, दिस पोस्ट इज टू लॉन्ग. एंड देन आई फिगर्ड व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय पोस्ट इज टू लॉन्ग. वो आप यू वुड हैव नोटिस जीमेल में
हाँ,
समटाइम्स देयर आर मेल्स यू रिसीव जहां पे नीचे लिखा होता है क्लिप्ड मैसेज, click here
हाँ.
for clipped message or something like that. So that's what is meant
Oh,
by saying that the post is too long.
got it. Oh, that makes so much sense. I'm also subscribed to the rap by Tariq. I think you would also know him.
Even I'm
Unke
subscribed. Yeah.
bhi, yeah, the email gets clipped. I think I don't know
Clipped.
if he
हाँ.
shifted
Because
platforms
the
now.
size is there. वो जो
हाँ,
इतना बड़ा एक चार्ट देते हैं ना, ऐसे 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 कीड़े
हाँ,
मकोड़े
हाँ,
आता है
हाँ,
big. That itself takes more than an MB.
हाँ.
So I have to take all my images, compress it first.
Compress them. Oh,
कभी कभी ना
wow.
दो दो कैरेक्टर में चेंज हो जाता है. आई एम राइटिंग समथिंग, आई जस्ट वांट टू क्लोज इट, फुल स्टॉप दबाया, वो उसने बोल दिया पोस्ट इज टू लॉन्ग. फिर उसको दो तीन कैरेक्टर पीछे करो. इट्स अ
This is behind the
ग्रेट
scenes of
लर्निंग.
being a creator.
हाँ, मतलब इट्स अ ग्रेट लर्निंग टू नो दैट ये सब भी होता है, छोटी छोटी.
Technical limitations when you're working in that.
So what I figured out is a newsletter for me works best, inclusive of all the images, etc. It's about 1,100 words.
Okay.
So this latest one I wrote on Deep Industries, that was
Hmm.
about 1,000, that was within 1,100 words. And
Okay.
अच्छा लिख के आया था, मतलब it was very crisp and people could really figure out what I'm talking about करके. So I,
Great.
I, I think I think a 4 minute read, 1,100 words
Hmm.
is enough for you to put across any kind of investing idea that you want to put to. You don't need to make 50-page long PDFs or anything of that sort. You can just write in a couple of PDFs and I think people will get it.
Sure, sir. Sure. So, in that terms also, you're tracking newsletter performance. But I want to ask on an individual level, have you been tracking your own performance? How do you, I don't know which broker you're currently using.
Sridhar,
Earlier, you zero the only. So, how are you tracking your yearly performance,
it-
XIRR or CAGRs?
it's a bit difficult on Zerodha because I used to
Yeah.
go to console. Even today morning I was there and I tapped on XIRR. But वो पता नहीं number तो दे रहा है. It's giving me 53%
It's also
XIRR.
giving for stocks also now.
हाँ, stocks के लिए.
Because
Portfolio
mutual fund coin is there, I know that,
No,
and
no.
individual
Now
level
he's
also.
giving it for the portfolio also. But the problem is the portfolio that he gives me is only for my unrealized portfolio. And today,
Yeah, correct.
हाँ, And today I was there with, I was having this podcast with Hemant and Shubham, and they tell me that, Shubham tells me that it is not for your entire portfolio, but it's only for your long-term holdings.
Oh, so they classified above 12 months only they will calculate.
I don't know. He told me that.
Uh, it's
So,
difficult. So that's why my question, like, how do you assess yourself as an investor?
so what I did is I took the trade book.
Yeah.
I can't do it every day, so I do it like once in 6 months types. So I took the trade book some 2 months back of all the past years. So
Hmm.
right from 2017 onwards on Zerodha, and उसको मैंने डाला एक एक कुछ किसने बनाया है some.
You're also using that portal when you do on Google like a Zerodha XIRR
हाँ
calculator.
हाँ,
There's this
someone has made a
website
portal. हाँ
where you
हाँ हाँ
upload the trade books.
हाँ,
Okay,
I
okay,
was
I've
very
also
scared
used
of
that.
uploading my stuff there, but then I realized
Yeah.
पर्सनल इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं है तो डाल देते कोई बात नहीं करके.
Uh,
तो I put that in, and that person, that system responded back by saying you have some 26.5% का
got it.
XIRR
So
over the
you're
last.
using that as a benchmark. It's very heartening to know that that's the
हाँ
exact tool
हाँ
I use.
हाँ, मतलब I couldn't figure out anything else, तो मैंने कहा ठीक है यार यही कर लेते हैं क्या फर्क पड़ता है करके.
The important thing is going up over time, thoda thoda, so you know you're working
हाँ
on
मतलब
yourself.
आई डोंट केयर आफ्टर अ व्हाइल, मतलब अभी. हाँ
Interesting.
सोचता नहीं अभी मैं. माय म्यूचुअल फंड पोर्टफोलियो, इफ यू आस्क मी, बिकॉज समवन फोर्स्ड मी इन अ पॉडकास्ट की सर खोल के दिखाओ करके, तो मैंने ठीक है दिखा दो, मेरा क्या जाता है. तो वैल्यू रिसर्च पे दिखाया मैंने. अदरवाइज आई डोंट रिव्यू इट फॉर लाइक 4 5 6 months. It's on auto mode.
No,
My
that makes sense. But at that point, you should know. And then, how do you assess? Is like the only question. Like because Ishmohit, I think, was the one key. You should track. You should know. Are you even beating Nifty? वरना इतनी मेहनत तुम क्यों ही कर रहे हो?
हाँ
You
हाँ
should
हाँ
just
हाँ
put money in
हाँ
the
हाँ हाँ
next one.
नहीं, वो तो मैंने देख लिया, और आई एम बीटिंग निफ्टी थैंकफुली. सो
चलो, touch wood. Maybe it
इक्विटी
remains
सम
that way.
equity is some 18.4%. My debt is only 6.1%. Hybrid is some 13% के आसपास है.
Solid,
So
sir.
as a
Solid.
portfolio, it's about 14%.
Hmm.
But that's all put together. So pure
Got,
equity is about 18.3, 18.4% at the
got
moment.
it.
And this is 9 years of data. This is for the
Okay,
last
that's
9 years.
reliable and super reliable.
Yeah.
Sir, just ask. Thank you for sparing so much time. I'll just ask this last question, sir. So, if I
You can
ask,
continue. It's okay. I have nothing lined up, Jotpreet. आप बोलिए आराम से.
okay, so, if you were to say today, like, what type of an investor would you classify yourself? Like, what is definitely you've changed over time. I've like listened to different interviews of yours. Like today, Mr. Shankar of today, what would you classify yourself as an investor? If you were to put yourself in a matrix, where would you place your own self?
I'm still a very balanced investor. I
Okay,
don't take any undue risks at all.
okay.
मतलब that's the assurance I have for my own money and for other people's money also, although I don't handle anyone's money. But when I make up these advices, or if some relative of mine, some batchmate of mine calls me, they know that I'm very careful with my money. I don't like to lose even a single paisa of my money. If you have to, if you offer me two options, give me, there's high risk, high return, and moderate risk, moderate return. I will still say नहीं यार, मेरे को moderate return, low risk चलेगा ऐसे करके. So that's the kind of investor I am, and which is why this entire thought of looking at revenue visibility, margin
Hmm.
visibility, all this comes from there. That's why I like the
That
GARP method more,
uh,
because GARP में क्या होता है, आपको growth भी मिलता है and आपको reasonable price भी मिलता है. So that's
hmm.
like a double cushion
Yeah,
for you. So your growth is also there, and your
you're not
reasonable
overpaying for that.
valuations are also moderate, right? So every decision of mine, not just as an investor but also as a regular person, is based on the same principle that. But yes, there are some times in my life, in my investing life, in my personal life, it's about how you balance curiosity and caution.
Hmm.
So these are the two words. Okay. How do you balance curiosity and caution? You can't be very curious,
Hmm.
because then a lot of negative stuff can happen, taking you to zero. You can't be very cautious, because then you
You'll
lose out on
miss
all
out.
the upside. There are certain times when you should be more curious than cautious. There are certain times you should be more cautious than curious.
Hmm.
That's the person I am. And thanks to so many years of kind of working and experiencing, making mistakes, etc. I think अभी एक ऐसे stage पे आ गया हूँ where I'm like very confident of my abilities to mix and match curiosity and caution. So thoda, I don't know if you were expecting a one-worded answer,
No,
but
no, no, sir. I'm very happy
my
to.
this is my
What
answer.
more than the answer, sir, it's the thinking that I'm really enjoying listening to, sir. The thought process, in for mutual funds or even for this, like this is where I would caution and curiosity are the two pole ends where you need to balance yourself.
Correct.
So this
Correct.
is I think this is the most interesting part, that key takeaways from this entire conversation, sir. And so one more thing I would love to know, sir, how do you look at selling decisions? Because that I've seen in
Hmm.
interviews that's the least discussed topic. Like how do you approach selling, either trimming or completely ending a position or completely chopping down?
Yeah, so we touched upon it with that Sterlite technology wala example
Ha, yeah.
thing. So the reasons why I bought the stock, if that's moving away, if that's kind of
Hmm.
diminishing, if that's diluting, then I exit. I don't do any of the other things like DMA 200 के ऊपर आ गया ये
Ha,
हो गया
yeah.
वो सब मैं कुछ नहीं देखता.
Okay. So that
मैंने
I can see that reflection of the bottoms up analysis being here. कि
हाँ हाँ
वो
हाँ
मैंने देखा था, this thing is missing now, what I
आई
got
हैव
in
ओनली
for.
वन स्किल इन लाइफ. मतलब मुझे सिर्फ फ्रंट फुट पे खेलना आता है या बैक फुट पे खेलना आता है. बट आई विल यूज एवरी सिचुएशन अराउंड इट to kind of
Hmm.
maximize that particular skill of mine. So I use that same skill to enter a stock, hold a stock, exit the
Okay.
stock. There's a big learning I've had, Jotpreet, that you don't make money by averaging down, you make money by
Money by
averaging.
averaging up.
हाँ. So again, that review which I told you, that हर
Yeah.
साल review करना, हर 2 साल review करना, that gives you an opportunity to average up. And if you can average up more and more, you will end up making a lot of wealth for
Hmm.
yourself. So it's all around that same skill of reading, researching, analyzing, having your own circle of competence, the kind of stuff you want to do. Like I can't invest in I don't invest in banks and NBFCs. समझ
Okay.
नहीं आता. तो कोई आके बोलते यार ये समझो ना तुम. मैंने क्यों समझू यार, बाकी इतने कंपनी तो पड़े हुए हैं ना, 5,000 कंपनी और अपने पास. Why should I be bothered with this 200 NBFCs and banks which are there ऐसे
Hmm.
करके. So that's how I operate. That you have that one skill, but use it to the maximum.
Great.
It,
So
it will
that's.
solve for all your questions. That single bottom up approach takes care of
Hmm.
everything.
Got it. That does make sense a lot. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shankar sir, for
Most
so much
welcome,
of your time.
Jotpreet.
Really
Most welcome.
enjoyed, thoroughly enjoyed discussing everything with you and hearing your insights, your frameworks. Any last message from your end, sir, to somebody who might be listening or watching this video?
Yeah, so as I've always said that uh, you have to kind of have balance on everything that you do. Uh, and there's a very nice quote I want to end this entire thing with. I might have used it before also. It's like if money is lost, then nothing is lost.
Hmm.
If health is lost, then something is lost. But if character is lost, then everything is lost.
Okay.
So if you have to create a hierarchy for yourself, then it's your character,
Hmm.
uh, which will take care of everything in life, including especially your personal life, and your professional life. Then it's the health, because for you to enjoy the fruits of compounding, you have to be alive.
Alive.
So apna dhyan rakhiye, that's very important. And wealth is something that will keep on. I've realized now, and this is remarkable. Like I became a self-employed person, and I could see money coming from unexpected sources and me losing money from unexpected sources.
What
So
do you mean, sir?
you don't expect money to come from
Huh.
X place, but suddenly you got this
Okay.
extra 5 lakh rupees from somewhere. You don't even
Oh,
expect that. And you don't expect money, lose money, this thing, but ठीक है, दे
चला
कोई
गया.
बात नहीं ऐसे करके. So it's like money will keep on coming and growing. It's like that's the role of money actually.
Yeah.
uh, but health will never, the lost health will never come back. It's next to impossible. And if you lose character, you will end up being a complete rut from a personal as well as from a professional perspective. So I always try and end my discussions, and especially with young people like you, with this particular thing. Over time, you'll realize it more, Jotpreet. You're still pretty young, but
Oh,
you'll
okay,
you'll
sir.
understand this sequencing very soon. of
Hmm.
one character is more important than health is more important than wealth.
Sure, sir, sure. Thank you so much, Shankar sir. And to anybody who's listening or watching, make sure to check out Shankar sir on YouTube and even his newsletter. He's doing some wonderful work in the Indian investing community. And so, really looking forward to more content and more avenues to connect with you, sir.
Thank you so much, Jotpreet, for having me here and wish you the very best.
Thank you so much. Thank you.